Josie, it's wonderful to have you here today. And I'd love you to tell us a little bit about this wonderful exhibition called Kelp Reverberations.
We can start with the process of falling in love. And I'm trained as a photographer. I started using my flatbed scanner as a camera many, many years ago. But about 15 years ago, I discovered that I could capture seaweed with my scanner and really create portraits of the seaweed that reflected the transparency, the beauty, the kind of magicalness of these organisms that very few people actually really know about. And so I spent a lot of time putting seaweeds and kelp onto my scanner and making portraits of what I see as under-recognized organisms. And that image-making process took me deep into the science of the seaweeds and kelp because I wanted to know more. As I got into the pixels, so to speak, it was like, why are they so magical? Why am I falling in love with the form, the beauty, the color? And it turns out they have a really fascinating life cycle. And when you get into the kelps, you realize that these are foundational organisms. They're foundational to the ocean systems that are all around us. It became a real passion to tell the story of this kind of funky but fabulous organism, bull kelp, or Nereocystis lutkiana. So I use my flatbed scanner and I can make images that then can actually be used in so many different ways. I can create images that are designed into the pages of a book. I can create fine art prints that are in more traditional gallery exhibits. But what the scanner also allows me to do is to play with scale. And about 10 years ago, I started also, alongside my scanning, I started making cyanotype prints or sun prints. And this was really to honor Anna Atkins, who was a real pioneer. She was this wonderful Victorian polymath who was one of the first people to start using this nascent photographic process called cyanotype printing, which is really making a light-sensitive coating on a piece of paper and exposing it to the sun. And she was exposing her seaweed collections from the coasts of England. And I, in her honor, started making cyanotype prints in my own backyard of my seaweed collections. So it's very much this intermingling of the art-making enterprise with the history of science. And this ability to play with this imagery in all these different contexts for me, whether it's fine art prints, book illustrations, or these architectural scale banners, is one of the great delights for me as an artist, is how many different ways can I tell this story.
This particular exhibition is a collaboration between artists, scientists, musicians, sound engineers. Can you tell us a little bit about the collaboration?
Absolutely. When this opportunity arose, it became clear that it needed to be a kind of coalition of partners in making an exhibit about kelp. The group wanted to be really representative of the kelp forests here in the Salish Sea, which are so important to tribes. You have the incredible Friday Harbor Labs right there doing some of the foundational research into kelp forest ecologies. And so I reached out to first Betsy Peabody, who is legendary as the founder of the Puget Sound Restoration Fund, which has been tremendous in promoting the science of how do we help natural systems gain or support their own resilience. So how do we do kelp restoration in conjunction with the ocean to help kelp restore its beds? So she has actually moved into a new position at the Puget Sound Restoration Fund and has had time to actually develop her art practice and has made these incredible kelp bulbs, which are made from bull kelp that she has collected around the Salish Sea in Puget Sound. She's based on Bainbridge Island. And so the provenance of where the pieces are from are very, very important. And it is really this kind of manifestation of place that these kelp and these kelp sculptures are representing.
This bouquet has kelp stipes. You've got stipes coiled around willow sticks, and then that coiling can incorporate as flowerets different chitin shells or abalone. And this is such a critical species to include in this kelp forest bouquet because abalone are like the forest keepers. They're down there on the rock surfaces and they're clearing it for settlement by bull kelp and other species. So they're performing this grazing activity that just creates this and sustains this healthy environment. I have been having an incredible amount of fun creating the forest in as whimsical a way as possible to capture just the beauty of all the different living species that are here, part of this place.
We really wanted to bring in this new component of sound. How can we access the kelp forest through different senses? And my husband, Ken Pierce, has been working on the kind of art of a sound sculpture, of creating an immersive soundscape that really connects to different kinds of emotions than the visual arts present. And he has worked with a wonderful composer named Jonathan Kochuk, who we encountered through his composition, his soundtrack for a wonderful documentary called Send Kelp, showing at the Friday Harbor Film Festival in October.
We brought in big bull kelp stipes and we made instruments out of them, we made horns out of them, we sampled this. And a lot of that is what you hear today. But we also have a lot of other ingredients that we sort of foraged from the ocean, including field recordings. We have the sound of a blue whale, which is a bit of a mystery as to what that is. Scientifically, we have all kinds of ingredients, both from the ocean and sort of our interpretation of the piece. It was very challenging in a cool way. I mean, the ingredients are already strange enough, but then factor into that our speaker system, which Ken has been doing an amazing job on, and multiply that by working remotely in different countries and trying to figure out what something sounds like in a room, even though you're not in the room at all. And you can't be because you're working so remotely. But I think we did a great job, and I really hope people enjoy it. I'm very grateful to have worked on it. Anytime I can work on natural history stuff like this and sort of take people's perception of the natural world and tweak it a little bit so that you maybe see it a little bit differently. I hope we did that. That's my favorite thing whenever I experience art. So enjoy. Thank you so much. And I was going to say talk to you soon, but this is not a phone call. So sayonara.
We really wanted to partner with the Salish Indian Nation from the start. So that map represents some of the historical kelp beds as we're told through elders in the Salish Indian Nation. We really think of design as being a way of bringing lots of elements together to use some overall vision to how we might work together as a group, and having the opportunity in this particular gallery that is kind of centered in this ocean space has been really, really cool to bring those elements together.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. You are an artist and an author. We have two of your seaweed books here, and you have authored the web-based book we have on our touchscreen monitor. How does this installation connect to those book projects?
There are so many different facets and ways to tell stories. And I think that's, Mariana and I, as Above Below, are always thinking we think of ourselves as storytellers, and we've kind of taken on the bull kelp forest as our primary story. And my connections to the kelp world and her connections with her design team led us to build the web-based book that we have on the monitor. And we think that is just a fantastic resource for teachers, for parents, for anybody interested in getting a deep amount of information to have context. You know, I had real problems in college if there wasn't some great diagram or model for me. Some people, the auditory is just what will spark that curiosity, whether it's touching or becoming intrigued with the craft that Betsy brings to the kelp. So we're hoping that this will spark an even broader group of people's curiosity in the kelp, and will say, oh, I can go to this website and learn more, and that by learning more and becoming intrigued, they'll go out to the beach, they'll say, I know my local kelp bed. How is it doing this year? So we love combining. I mean, I think that's the designer in us, is combining these different aspects and being able to visualize bringing them together in this space. And that's why, as a group, we so appreciate working with you and with Blake and the museum to give us the opportunity to kind of bring these disparate elements and see if we can make them whole together, so that the kelp itself kind of rises out of the story, whether you're getting it from the sound, the banners in the sunlight, the graphics, the map, the sculpture. You come away with, oh my goodness, I need to know more about bull kelp.
Right.
I love it.
Right. How do you hope people are going to feel when they come in, or when they leave?
Yeah. Hopefully they come back
Yeah.
again and again to be here in different times of day, to also be here at different times of the soundscape, and to be here when they can be here alone and be very reflective, or to be here with people and share their excitement. That is knowing these seaweeds and kelps. They are our forests of the ocean, and they are really important to the biodiversity that's so important to our nearshore oceans. So they're the home to so much activity, whether it's fish activity or mammal activity. I was out there yesterday, and the heron out at Dead Man's Cove was there resting on the kelp, fishing away, because that's where the fish are. Clearly that's where it loves to be. So I think going away from this exhibit with a newfound curiosity for how we can connect in new ways, and being part of how we can help rebuild resilience in our oceans. We can be part of that.
Thank you, Josie. It was wonderful talking with you about this today, and I know our visitors are really going to enjoy being a part of this whole immersive exhibition about kelp and the beauty of it, the science of it, and how we can help. Thank you.
Thank you.